in, guys. New week, and we needed a new week. Nice little Sunday yet again. NFL Week 9, 3-2, so slightly in the green, but that makes it 9 straight winning weeks in the NFL. That keeps us going, and we needed a little rough week last week with NBA, as you guys know. Still crushing numbers. One NBA bet out today. Crushed that number as well. We'll get into the NBA card. We'll get into Monday Night Football. First, I was talking about the Sunday recap a little bit. The bets we had, just some of what went on. It was a crazy day in the NFL, crazy stories all around. And the 3-2 day for us. It's good to keep us in the green in the NFL, staying hot.
Yeah. Kansas City Chiefs, we were on the Chiefs. So we had a little early morning action and had a 21-0 halftime lead. But the way we were going last week, even that one got sweaty at the end. Yep. But do get the job done. As Ben said, NBA has been off to an absolute brutal start. All I can tell you guys is buy the dip. You said you're the best in the NBA. I am without a doubt the best in the NBA. We bet a game again today that has moved 4 points. It's a 4-point swing. This is what we do every day, and I'll tell you guys again, it is mathematically impossible to lose. You can lose for a week. You cannot continue to lose over the course of the year when you are constantly beating the number the way we beat it every day. So we're going to give you that game later on, so stay tuned for that. But, the NBA, you take 5, and a game closes 2.5. You lay 2 and a game closes 4.5. You've got to win those amount of games right now. Bold, it's just not falling for us. And that's just the way it is. Late breaking injuries. Let's talk a little bit about Friday night. We gave you guys Syracuse. College football. This was our first losing week in college football in forever also. Didn't have many plays. But Friday night we had Syracuse. And this is one of the reasons why I don't mess around with college football. It's all about injury information, and that's every sport. Syracuse, their starting quarterback, Schrader, it was not known anywhere, and still till today are they saying undisclosed. This is why he didn't play. No reason, no injury, undisclosed. He was on the sideline, not in his shirt, but no pads. We didn't get that info till 15 minutes before kickoff. It's all about info. If you guys watched the game, you saw a quarterback that at best would have been a high school quarterback. I could not believe that an ACC team, that this was the backup quarterback on an ACC team. I've got some years of eligibility left, so I'm thinking I could play quarterback if Syracuse wants to send me that note. Anyway, it's all about injury info, and the rules in college and college basketball are different from the pros. Pros, that's where we get our info before game time. NFL, you've got to submit that active roster 90 minutes before game time. NBA, an hour before tip-off. So we have info there. College, no such rules apply. This was an ESPN nationally televised Friday night game. ACC. This is not Sun Belt Conference or some garbage conference, fake fucking football, real fucking football, and don't get the info. So you're as good as your info. Nobody gets info better than we do. If you guys are How to Beat the Bookie members, yesterday, we listed Terry Rozier as out from as soon as we put our previews up in the morning. Up until an hour before game time, other outlets were calling him questionable. Terry Rozier did not play. This is what makes us the best. Not only the info that we know, but the ones that we surmise who may sit in this spot, the look-aheads, this, that. And that's why we beat the number the way we do. And like I said, we'll get to that also. As far as football yesterday, Ben, KC, big winner.
Yep.
We backdoor the total in the Giant game. Looked beautiful, 14-0, but then 10 points in the last 2 minutes for the Raiders. But then we go back and we get the under there.
A real sweat job on that Houston Tampa Bay totals right there the whole way.
Yeah, no, that was just unexpected. the kid Stroud goes crazy yesterday and scores again at the end of the game. Can anybody tell me why the guy went for 2 points on for the conversion? So when Houston scores that last touchdown, they go up by 2. Kick the extra points up by 3. I mean, they're not going to tie it up anyway. There was 6 seconds left, but still, you don't get a 2-point conversion. You go for a 2-point conversion, and I'm sure pisses off a lot of guys that had the Houston -2.5 in that spot. But anyway, we blow that total. Just watching some moves right now in the NFL for next week, which Cardinals is one of them. We're assuming that they'll have Murray back after that absolutely disgusting performance by Tune, the rookie quarterback, coming out. But yeah,
it's too bad they didn't have a guy. Yeah, well, Dobbs. Too bad they didn't have Dobbs. Just go to Minnesota.
Dobbs is if I knew Dobbs was going to play, would have absolutely bet the Vikings yesterday. He comes in after again another rookie quarterback. On the road, just not getting the job done, and Dobbs, without taking a snap, without any practice reps, goes in and leads the Vikings to a win. And all of a sudden, hey, maybe the Vikings, they got Jefferson coming back. Yep. They did lose Osborne to a concussion, so we'll see how that goes. But Vikings, he's not Cousins. He's not even close to Cousins, but it gives you something a little else. This guy can run around a little bit, create some havoc. So Vikings all of a sudden maybe not out of it. And then we went to the night game and we were on the Bills for playoff revenge. And after 2 series each, it was evident that the Bengals are just a much better team. The Bills have fallen from grace. This isn't the team that's been one of the best teams, just not winning the big game the last few years. They've dropped way off. That defense, they've just lost too much with Milano, the linebacker, and White, the cornerback. They've just lost too much defensively. And I'm really at the point thinking Allen, that shoulder is more of a problem than everybody's letting on. He's not the same decision-wise, too, just not the same. Cincy, Burrow, now fully 100% over the calf injury. See if you guys watched him scrambling around, making plays, escaping what looked like certain sacks last night. Cincy, and what Baltimore has now done in their last 2 home games to 2 really good teams. Not great teams, Detroit and Seattle, but 2 really good teams. They've absolutely blown them out. Take Cincy, Baltimore, put them with KC, drop Miami and Buffalo down to that next tier in the AFC. And the AFC champ, the AFC representative for the Super Bowl, will be one of the 3, KC, Cincy, or Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore been on them all year. You guys know it's a preseason pick to win the Super Bowl. Still sticking by that since Roquan Smith trade last year, leading the league in points allowed. This year, they're holding teams at 13.8, under 2 touchdowns a game. Ridiculous. And offensively, still right there. And I think KC, this is the best defense KC has ever had in this little dynasty they've had. So they've taken a step up, but obviously a step back. And it's a little bit of a Patriots Belichick build at this point. They didn't pay Tyreek Hill, let him go, but built around the defense, and you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league with a couple of weapons. The offense will figure it out. They'll get enough done. But, hey, when that defense is doing what they're doing, puts them right there. I agree with Baltimore. We talked about Buffalo a little bit there. Everyone has, Buffalo obviously up in those tiers. We're dropping them down a bit. They're the Vikings. They're a good team with big mistakes and big turnovers. Every once in a while, they'll play a good team tough, but they're everyone has Vikings down here, Buffalo up here. Kind of same record at this point, but even if you go look back on the schedule, some of the losses they've had pretty similar. I think Buffalo kind of right there on the same tier of Minnesota.
I look, especially without Cousins, I can't put Vikings in that same tier. I think the Vikings are just over a 500 club, and that's because they're going to play in a weak division and going to be able to beat up on the Bears and the Packers twice each this year. But Packers get a win over a helpless Ram team and another backup quarterback. These backup quarterbacks, like I said, you'd think there's just somebody better out there than these second guys. They can't even get a first down. But so Green Bay finally gets a W yesterday over the Rams. But yeah, I can't see the Vikings being much better than that. Bills are good. Look, Bills. Remember, when you're a good team from the year before, your next year's schedule, it's because that's how they weight the schedule. Yeah, so you're just constantly playing tough teams, and that's what the Bills are up against. And just look at the Eagles' remaining schedule. I don't know, Ben, if you could pop it up for them just to show them what the Eagles are up against when they come back from this bye. Huge game against Dallas yesterday. Keep the Cowboys out of the end zone on that last play. Hurts couldn't get the bye at a better time. Hurts is hurting. That knee is a problem right now, so they're going to get the bye at a perfect time. I'm actually having trouble seeing it, but I'm half blind, so maybe the guys can see it.
Yeah, it might be easier. But, I mean, after the bye week, Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas, Seattle, and then they get 3 easy ones to wrap up the year. Giants, Cardinals, Giants. But, man, those next 5 games just absolutely brutal. That's
what you get by being being in the Super Bowl, that you get one of those toughest schedules. So, but what I saw there, Eagles better and better each week now. They had that little bit of a lull, but getting better and better. Again, banged up. Get that bye weekend. They got to come back strong with Hurts. The D just not the same as last year. They've lost a lot off D. They've lost the coordinators. So the D's not the same, but Hurts just keeps getting better and getting better with the arm now. And he's going to have to be, because I think the running is going to have to take a back seat. I know they do this tush push better than anybody, but if you got a knee problem, man, I don't know if I'd want to be risking that too much right now. But we'll see how they come out of the bye. As far as the Cowboys, I mean, probably the best Dak Prescott has looked. Yeah. If not a long time and forever, but they still don't get the job done. So tough luck for the Cowboys, but they played a decent game, the Cowboys, where they haven't been good on the road. Home, they absolutely dominated. I believe it's 11 straight, and they get the Giants. They get the Giants this week in what is a 16-point favorite. Giants will be without a quarterback. Tyrod Taylor was put on IR along with tight end and leading receiver Waller before the game yesterday, and then they go and lose Danny Jones. DeVito will be their starting quarterback unless they go pick somebody up this week. And as I said, 16-point favorite. The last time that they met, week 1, remember what that score was, Ben?
40-zip.
40-zip. This has got all the makings of Dallas coming off pissed off, snarly, off a loss at Philly. And Giants just look. I mean, how bad did they look? I told our guys in our chat room when the score was down 24-0, we had under 38.5 in the game. I says, look, I still think we got a shot for the Giants. The Giants aren't going to score, so it's a matter of just how many points the Raiders score. They actually did get 6 points. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly trip to Dallas for them. What are your takeaways, Ben, from yesterday's NFL?
Yeah, I mean, first off, just what Dobbs did is just very, very impressive. To go short week, I mean, to have to practice before the drive, your cadence with the O-line, just that in itself, that's ridiculous. And that's kind of the second time he did this. Obviously, when he went to Arizona this year, he had a couple of weeks, but still,
weeks.
Yeah, but every other quarterback, that's starting week 1, they have the whole summer, they have all training camp, and this got a couple of weeks, and the next thing you know, Delton does it again. So credit to him. I'm obviously, this is Kirk Cousins' team in the future. We'll see. I mean, if they don't trade him, but Kirk Cousins' team in the future, and we'll see if he finds a location where he can get something going there. As far as more reads, though, from yesterday, I mean, Baltimore we touched on, absolutely phenomenal. The KC-Miami game, I mean, Miami you can't beat a team above 500. They can't beat a winning team, and that's just problematic. And their offense can light up these bad teams, but when they face a good defense, they obviously offensively don't get as much done, and then defensively they can't counteract it. So that's concerning. And then Stroud, I mean, what we saw yesterday with Stroud, Houston, talk about making a great thing out of a bad situation. You have a franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson who has all his issues, all the off-field drama. You get suspended, all these issues. Get rid of them. You come back. You tank for a year. You get Stroud in the draft. You bring in DeMarco Ryans, whole new. I mean, damn, Houston, complete franchise 180. What looked like a mishap in losing a Watson. They got something special there. Yeah, but pretty fascinating, pretty entertaining Sunday. We'll see what we get going on. Big game. coming up next week with Chiefs and Eagles for that Super Bowl rematch. We'll be excited for that. And on this week 10, obviously, not too many crazy games. Lions, Chargers, and then some good Division Ones, Browns, Ravens. We'll see how those shape up. But we do have a Monday Night Football game tonight, John. Chargers and the Jets. We can break this game down a little bit here. Chargers team coming off taking care of business against the Bears. You have this Jets team who look pretty good. They go and find a way to get a win against the Eagles. And then that following week, they play that disgusting punt fest with the Giants. They should have lost it. What was it? 24 seconds left. They get the ball back, drive the field. So credit to Wilson for that. And now they got to face this Chargers team. So maybe a little bit of a letdown after those last two wins. We'll see how they shape up tonight. Both teams pretty banked up heading into this one. Chargers giving up a lot of points per game, 24 points per game, and a lot of passing yards per game. Last in the NFL, almost 300 passing yards per game, but going up against this Jets offense. So I think it should be a bit better there. And then as far as what we've seen from the Jets defensively, can they tone down this offense? We've seen them play some good offenses, mess up some good quarterbacks. We've seen Josh Allen have a horrible game. Jalen Hurts had a horrible game against this Jets defense. Is Herbert the next in line for that? Would be a lean to the road favorite in this one for me for the Chargers. I just think spot-wise, a little bit of a tough game here for the Jets. And I think the Chargers are closer to that Minnesota-Buffalo tier. Good team with some big mistakes that's lost them and canceled in some bad games. And they've had a pretty tough schedule. Lost to the Chiefs, lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Dolphins. Some games they could have won, should have won. And now you're looking back at it. So I think, and most importantly, you have a home dog getting a lot of public action on a primetime game. So that's home dogs or public dogs. That's where public dogs go to die, is when all the public's on them. So don't love that. It'll be a lean to the under, lean to the road favorite tonight, John.
Injuries, guys. It's that's what it's all about. You've got to have that info. So bad news for Chargers. They'll be without Palmer, the wide receiver. Okay, now you got to remember, Michael Williams already out for the year, so that's true. Yep. Keenan Allen's your guy. There's no question about it. You take away those supplemental receivers is tough. Also, 3 question marks on defense, 3 starters. Linebackers Kendricks and Murray, and nose tackle Joseph Day. So 3 big question marks there. Jets, same thing, banged up. We're looking at for the Jets. The offensive line is really beat up. Dwayne Brown was possible to come back. They had opened his 21-day window to start practicing, but he will not be activated. They lost McGovern and Schweitzer last week in that giant punt fest. They really got beat up in that game. Also, wide receiver Lazard was put on the injury list Saturday, which means he probably picked up something during practice. Never good when you get added to the injury list late in the week. So a bunch of banged up guys. Got to know who's available. 3.5, big number for the Chargers. Just remember, so coast to coast. This is a tough one. Late night for Chargers on this flight. So we'll see. My lean is to the dog plus more than a field goal. Don't love the spot and definitely need to know the injuries. I've got no bet in this one yet. As far as the total, would look it under, but because of the fact that Chargers are beat up on defense, I don't have a play on that either yet.
Then we have this massive NBA slate going on tonight. We can start diving into, as you guys know, one bet out there currently.
Let me just jump in 1 second, Ben.
Go ahead.
A real quirk in the schedule, a massive NBA card today, because tomorrow, Election Day, 0 games. So just to let you guys know, we won't be doing the podcast tomorrow. We'll take the day off. But yes, no games tomorrow. An extra big card tonight.
Extra big card tonight. So let's dive in here. First game, we got Golden State at Detroit. Tough schedule spot for Golden State. They start out the season with a lot of road games. Obviously, at Sacramento, a true road game, but then they go Houston, New Orleans. They go back home for another game of Sac, and then back on the road again. So even that's kind of considered, in my eyes, travel-wise, a little bit of a road spot, just going back home for one game and then back on the road to OKC. Hard-fought game with OKC. Then they go to Cleveland last night, drop that one. And you started to see the fatigue a little bit hit them in that Cleveland game. And I think it's going to carry on over into this back-to-back. Do they rest anyone? I would, because they get Denver next to wrap up this lot of traveling they have to start the season. Obviously, reigning champs. They have last 2 reigning champs in that matchup. So a little bit of a look ahead, you could say. Obviously, coming off a loss, maybe not as much, but definitely a factor there. They got the Nuggets circled on their schedule. Pistons looking brutal. They started off season looking pretty okay. Last couple of games, not so much. They've now lost 4 straight, scoring just 108 per game. They're a little bit banged up as well. Burks and Ivy missed yesterday. They're also on a back-to-back. They found a way to win both meetings last year. Curry sat one of those meetings last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody, I'm not saying Curry specifically, but somebody gets a day off. Maybe it is Curry's turn. Who knows? We'll see. The NBA, the way they talk about wanting these guys to sit, they don't want them sitting on road games, yes, but more importantly, they don't want them missing national primetime games. Obviously, Denver, Golden State, big national primetime game. They're going to want them healthy and good to go for that one. Lean Pistons in this one. Got to see lineups, though.
Yeah, no, I don't think Golden State will sit anybody tonight because of the fact, as Ben said, Detroit swept them last year. So Detroit's been a different team on the road this year. They had won all their road games up until last night at Cleveland. And if you guys don't know, they had won 16 straight against the Cavs, including the NBA final sweep in 2018. So they lost that. With the day off, coming off the loss is another reason I don't think they'll sit anybody. And the reason that they got swept last year by Detroit. I think they come with the full force. My number on this game is 6.5. This number is sitting at 7 right now. The line is, so solid today. I've got one bet which we absolutely slaughtered the line on, but this isn't one of those games. I'm right there, 6.5 on the game with thinking that Golden State's going to play everybody.
Then we have Spurs going on into Indiana. Spurs back-to-back. They blow a tough game yesterday. Leaned to that side, didn't fire, but San Antonio should have won that game. They're up big. +4 goes to OT, blow that one. Wemby had another solid performance, 20 points, 9 boards, 5 blocks. I will say with him, the first couple of games, it was a lot of ISO basketball, him on the perimeter, him trying to play one-on-one, which obviously he has the skill set to do. But once they started looking for him on the back cuts, looking for him towards the rim more, it just draws so much attention to the paint. San Antonio, last 2 games, shooting over 50%. They're getting a lot of clean looks, and I think that's only going to continue to get better as they find a way to utilize him off ball better. So interested to see how that looks. This Indiana team coming off a tough loss there to Charlotte the other night on Saturday. Another high-scoring game. That's what this comes down to. You have Spurs 28th in points allowed, Indiana 29th in points allowed. 5 of the Pacers 6 games go over, 5 of the Spurs 6 games go over. I can't imagine this is anything but another shootout tonight, like the over in this one with the Spurs and the Pacers.
Yes, Spurs blow, a 22-point lead yesterday, and then lose it in overtime. We see them almost choke up the game against Phoenix also. A big monster lead. Phoenix come all the way back, but they were able to bounce back, recover, and win that one. Each game they're going to get better and better, just figuring out this Wembanyama, figuring out the NBA and the players figuring it out all together. And you could see the improvement each game. Yesterday was a game they should have never lost once they had that lead, but they did. Pacers, they blow a tough game to Charlotte, man. They cannot blow that game. Came out with a monster third quarter. And Halliburton went absolutely crazy, but Ball locked them down on the last possession, couldn't get the shot off. Pacers, again, good, but not at that next level yet. This line moved because of the overtime and the minutes that they're playing. They're back-to-back. So you got San Antonio in back-to-back and travel with overtime. Indiana sitting at home waiting for them. But I think the number's just a little tinge too high. I'm 7.5. I think San Antonio, Houston Rockets, a few other teams just getting better and better as they're getting together. So maybe a little bit too high because of the overtime. But I'm not enough for me to want to get for me to want to jump on San Antonio in a back-to-back plus overtime plus travel. I need a little more points than that.
Then we have the Mavericks at Orlando. Mavs back-to-back. They get it done against Charlotte last night, 5-1 straight up, 3-3 against the spread. Then you have this Orlando team getting it done at home. Crushed the Lakers the other night. Won their last 2. Banchero stepping up, 27.5 points, 8 boards, 7.5 assists those 2 games. Playing pretty good. and defensively third points allowed right now. So all offensive Mavs, all defensive Orlando. That's how these two shaping up right now. And Magic, last 3 meetings in Orlando, 2-1 straight up, 3-0 against the spread. This is probably the first time in a long time I had a favorite in this matchup, but Magic or nobody for me in this spot. I like the way they're looking at home. I like the way Banchero's been looking the last couple of games. Dallas team, you have Kyrie, who's been dealing with his foot issue, been missing games, and would expect him to probably miss this game on a back-to-back again. We'll see if that's the case. But yeah, to me, this game is Orlando or nothing.
You have to agree with you, especially if Irving sits out. No word on that yet. That's just us assuming, does he go back-to-back? Dallas had to do everything they needed to do in the fourth quarter to get by a Charlotte team. That Charlotte was back-to-back and had no Rozier. That's Dallas. They just don't cover at home. So they go on the road today and they go to Orlando. Orlando, another team getting better and better. They lose Wendell Carter Jr., fractures his hand. And in the games that he's missed, Banchero, who was averaging just 12.5 points a game, all of a sudden explodes. So he gives a little room to operate. He becomes the man. Banchero takes over, and they look better with Carter off the court. But they still got another couple of injuries. They lost Harris. Fultz hasn't played the last couple of games. Yep. So normally a deep team. They cut down, and Isaac, who's trying to come back off of that gruesome leg injury a couple of years back, just never got back to that speed. He's going to be also questionable today. I picked the prices right where it should be, and that's Magic a short favorite over the Mavs. That naturally would be a bigger favorite if Kyrie is out, leaving Luka to do it all by himself, coming off a back-to-back.
Then we have Wizards at Philly. Big number on this game. And Washington, not playing the best of ball right now, but hanging in within the number. Getting some backdoors. Backdoor Atlanta, backdoor Miami. 1-3 straight up, but 3-1 against the spread. Their last 4 games, giving up 125 points per game. Sixers get it done against the Suns and getting it done with a lot of different guys. Oubre just fit in very nicely. Just a perfect, I don't want to say replacement to James Harden, but more or less, he just plays more off ball, still able to go develop and create his own shot, but not as dominant on ball, needing to be successful. Nice little something they have cooking up in Philly right now. Playing good ball, playing great defense, 4th allowing 104.4 points per game. They do get Boston next. So this Wizards team finding a way to hang in with the number. They've had success against the Sixers, 4-2 the last 6 meetings. Be a lean here to Washington, big number. But this is a game I would look to get live. I would look at halftime. Sixers up big with that game coming up with Boston. Potentially a chance for Washington to get a bit better price for that backdoor.
Yeah, Philly, addition by subtraction. Better team than they were with Harden last year, and I am totally convinced. 4 guys scoring 20-plus since you're adding Oubre. Tough spot for Philly. It was what we call a sandwich game. It's coming off the Phoenix game, beating Kevin Durant in Phoenix. Who's next? Celtics, your main competition, team that knocked you out of the playoffs, and here come the Wizards. Wizards have actually done well in this series, winning 4 or 6, split last year in Philly. And as Ben said, they're terrible. Look, they're a terrible team. But they hung around both at Atlanta and at Miami on this road trip and backdoored both big numbers. I would have taken the 12 earlier this morning. Game has moved down to 11.5, but there's some question marks. 3 of their rotation players, Gafford, Kispert, and I guess his name's Avdija. All 3 are questionable for the Wizards. Look, again, 3rd game of a road trip. If you're down bodies, just different. Look, Philly's really strong. Tough spot for them. It's wash or nobody, but we need those bodies healthy and get that full dozen points if I wanted to take wash.
Then we have the Lakers at Miami, 2020 Finals rematch. Since that 2020 Finals, Heat have won 4 of 6 meetings, all 3 in Miami, 2-1 against the spread. Obviously, LeBron versus the former team as well. A lot of narratives in this matchup. Lakers still pretty banged up. This team in the preseason, obviously, the most depth in the NBA, I'd say, but all their depths hurt. No Hachimura, Vincent, Vanderbilt. So some really key pieces starting to pile up there for the Lakers. They were crushed at Orlando the other day. The plus minus of LeBron just has to be brought up right now. On the season, Lakers with him on the court, plus 47. With him off the court, minus 70. Just a crazy night and day. Obviously, this is a game you would expect LeBron to play a bit more minutes. You would expect him to be pushed from the threshold. A lot of history with Miami, both against and playing for them. So you would expect this is a game to show up. And then this Heat team just not playing good ball right now. 2-4 straight up, 1-5 against the spread. They got it done against the Wizards, couldn't cover. Hero, he's been playing a lot better. Don't like laying numbers with Miami. This is, to me, the optimal spot to bet the Heat. It's a game you've got to think, not playoff Jimmy, quote unquote, but this is a game Jimmy Butler should be showing up for. This is a game Miami should be showing up for. And I like to take them cheap home favorite, laying 1, basically a PK on this game. And that's what I would like, the kind of game I'd like to bet the Heat in. A game you think they're going to show up for, and they don't have to cover any numbers, just win the game. Give me the Heat in this one.
Yeah, Lakers stumbled badly at Orlando, and that was a sandwich game. Lakers coming off beating the Clippers. They had been beaten by the Clippers 11 straight. And who do they got next? Miami, LeBron's old stomping grounds. So they go into Orlando, a team they just beat in LA. Orlando had that lead as late in the fourth quarter. So Magic came out and they shocked them. Expect LeBron and the boys to be ready today. They won't get shocked in Miami. And again, is LeBron in that 28 to 30 minute range? Well, he was only there for the first game of the season. That hasn't taken part. And as Ben said, just look at the plus minus. So you tell us how many minutes LeBron's going to play. If he's in that 35 to 36 minutes, my lean is to the Lakers. If he's 28 to 30, yeah, then I would like Miami.
This next game, another good Eastern Conference battle. Bucks at Brooklyn. Bucks coming off a nice win there against the Knicks. Weird stat sheet on this one. They shot 51.2% from 3, 20 of 39. But from inside the arc, just 15 of 43, 34%. So that's modern NBA for you. Pulled out the win, though. And then Nets, they just couldn't get it done against Boston. Obviously, Celtics own them. No Ben Simmons in that matchup. He comes back around, and it's a big piece, especially in this matchup against Milwaukee. I think there are very few players in the NBA who match up as well with Giannis as Ben Simmons does. Maybe Anthony Davis is probably your only other preference, or at least for me, preference I'd rather have in a matchup there against Giannis. So Ben Simmons back in the lineup. That's huge for this one. Bucks, a lot of success. 10 of the last 13 meetings, 8-5 against the spread, 4-1 last 5 trips to Brooklyn. This would be a lean here to the Nets and a lean here to the under in this matchup. Bucks just not covering games right now. 1-4 against the spread and road favorite. Yes, they've had success here in this matchup. I think we see Brooklyn here put up a fight. They're playing good ball before they played Boston. Plug Ben Simmons back in on the night off. I think this can be a good spot here for the Nets.
Yeah, look, we said it from the beginning of the year. Nets are a deep team. They lose Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton. And Claxton, now we're just reading, is going to be out for quite a while. Yep. So they were without those guys. And then when you take Ben Simmons out, that was just too much to fight Boston, who right now, it's them and Denver, the 2 best teams in the league by my ratings anyway, which means they're the 2 best teams in the league. Anyway, Nets in a better spot today. Milwaukee coming off that home win over the Knicks, a tough one. They'd go up big. The Knicks just kept fighting, and they basically were without Barrett, and you could call them without Randall. Randall's, I mean, he just can't hit a bucket right now. So basically, Brunson kept the Knicks in that game single-handedly. So Bucks just haven't put it together yet. What we think we want to see. And defensively, man, what a difference from last year. Last year, known as a defensive team. This year, not so much. 5.5 points, right around where, or maybe a half a point higher than I think the line should be, but just not enough. This game would have to go a little higher. Nets are nobody, but only at a higher price.
Then we have the Clippers at the Knicks. James Harden debut coming tonight. He's going to be plugged into that starting lineup, which I couldn't disagree with anymore. Nonetheless, though, great roster here. Better team than the Knicks, without a doubt in my mind, especially the way Julius Randle's playing right now. It's absolutely brutal to watch. They do get Barrett back. We'll see how that looks. Brunson, big game last time, but I mean, Julius Randle, the turnovers up to almost 5, shooting 27% from the field. What was it in that Bucks game? 1 for 9 from 3, just brutal performances. And it starts to affect the rest of his game. Body language, see some of those clips going around, how he did defensively after those. So it's I have Randall -2 to the number right now. He's just that detrimental to the team. We'll see if he can flip it around, get back to where he was. And the Clippers, how's it going to look first game with James Harden? Now, we'll say obviously a lot of chemistry with him and Westbrook, third team now together. So that has to help a little bit. I hate the fact that your two of your three guys who have led the league in assists since they both left OKC. I mean, this is, two of your better playmakers on the same team. It's difficult. I wish they would stutter their minutes. Maybe they do end up stuttering their minutes a little bit tonight. We'll see. I just hope they don't turn Westbrook into a corner shooter. The Lakers did it. Does not go well. You got to let Westbrook be on ball. Harden has the ability to be that corner shooter a little bit, but just two ball-dominant players. Scares me. We'll see how it goes. But as far as this game tonight, the way Randall's playing, it almost hurts the Knicks having him in the lineup at this point until he turns it back around. And while he's playing at this level, I think you got to go against the Knicks here at a cheap price.
Yeah, no, I got to see what the Clippers are going to do first. So we said they're going to start Harden. They're throwing him into the starting lineup. So we all knew that was going to happen, but we thought Westbrook would come off the bench. He's not. So you're going to be starting Westbrook, Harden, PG, Kawhi, and then Zubac. So, yeah, Harden and Westbrook are both absolutely have to have the balls in their hand. But PG and Kawhi also like to play with the ball in their hand.
Yep.
I don't know how this is going to work. I didn't like the trade from its inception. So we'll get a first look at it tonight. They'll get a look at it against a good defensive Knicks team. Knicks do play some good D. They keep you down field goal percentage-wise. We'll see how this looks. It's an experiment until we see it work. I can't go out and say, hey, look, down the road, the Clippers are going to be a better team for sure. Are they going to be a better team the first night? The one good thing that they did have, almost a little mini camp, 4 days since their last loss with the Lakers. So they've had some time to integrate Harden into that offense. Myself, I believe this game should be picked. RJ Barrett missed the last couple of games for the Knicks. He'll return today. You're going to need Randall to come out of this funk. If he comes out of the funk, I give the Knicks a shot tonight to get a Clipper team with their first game with Harden.
Yeah, tip of the cap to Ty Lue for everything he's had to endure in this Clippers tenure. I mean, the injuries, the bullshit with Kawhi and Paul George alone, enough to drive a guy crazy. But what he's going to have to try to make happen here with Westbrook and Harden in his roster, we'll see if we can pull it off. And we have the Utah Jazz going on to Chicago. Jazz crushed at Minnesota on Saturday, 18 turnovers, brutal game from them. 1-4, 2-3 against the spread their last 5. And then you have this Bulls team who's just crushed at Denver. I thought they were in a good spot to get maybe a cover in that game. Did not do it. Absolutely demolished. Denver shot 44% from 3 in that one. Bulls, some success in this matchup. 3 of the last 4 meetings. Jazz. These are two teams I would say for me right now, early on in the season, a bit more difficult time with the read on. What do we have going on here with Chicago? The rough start. Looked like they maybe returned that leaf a little bit, not. And then Utah, as soon as they go on the road, it's been pretty brutal. So two teams not looking to get involved in this game. Need to see a bit more of them. Based off the number alone, slight lean here to the Jazz, but really a game of staying away from.
Yeah, no, I thought the Jazz were a little bit better team than they've shown to be. Yeah. And Bulls are who they are. They didn't improve this team. It's basically the same team coming back from last year. They'll fight to be a play-in team. I make the game 3.5, game sitting at 4 or 4.5, depending on your book right now. But for me to want to get involved with the Jazz, got to tick up a little bit higher. Not interested in this one.
Then you have the Kings at the Rockets. Second game, 2-game set here in Houston. Rockets crushed them the first go-around. Kings had won 8 of the 9 prior meetings. De'Aaron Fox missed that game. He's going to miss this game again tonight. They are now 0-2, but 1-1 against the spread without him, scoring 95 points per game. They need that offense to step up. Malik Monk, guys like that in the guard rotation, going to have to pick up the slack a little bit. And Houston, and won the last couple of games, looking a lot better. A little bit of your discount store Sixers is how they're getting it done. Is they got between Smith, Brooks, Van Fleet, and Green, bunch of different guys getting involved in the scoring, and that's not even bringing up who's arguably the best player, Sengun. So this is a Rockets team. Everyone getting involved, everyone getting it done, and we'll see how they continue to go. But second go around here against the Kings, even with the Rockets playing a bit better, John. Kings still a much better team here in this one, especially with that matchup history, the revenge, and that's part of why you crush this number on this game.
Yeah, this is all one game today, guys. This game opened 2. We took the Kings. Kings are now a 2-point favorite. It's just that simple. Beating numbers by 4 points day in and day out, just not possible. Just not mathematically possible to lose. Yeah, we can lose some games. We can lose for a week. Can't continue to lose when you're beating the number this way. This game is a 4-point swing early in the morning. This is not a line pushed by public money, by squares. This is the sharp guys burying the number. So if I take 2 and the number goes down to 1, say, okay, well, the sharps took 2 to 1. When it goes 2 to the other side, the sharps have buried it, taking plus the 2, plus 1, pick, laying 1 to go to 2. That's how much of an edge you have on a 4-point swing. Getting back to the game itself, yeah, Sacramento again will be without Fox. Obviously, not as good a team without Fox. And Houston getting better each game. Again, a lot of different pieces from places all coming together. So again, getting to know each other, playing better. But there is no way that they could have been the favorite in a revenge game after blowing the Kings out in one of these back-to-back series against a team that's absolutely dominated the series. So Kings are supposed to be the favorite, at least 2 points, and that's what they are favored now. We took 2 on the game.
Yeah,
let me just say this. If my NBA wasn't so ice cold, this would have been a 5-unit bet. This is a big move from 2 points one way. Again, I'm about 2.5 to 3 with the number, so it would have been a 5-unit bet. The NBA has been a little rough, so we cut it down to 3 units.
Yeah, the Fox injury, this is one of those games you try to get even without him, splitting with Houston. And they have a pretty, easier schedule here for the next couple of games they can get by without him. Back end of November, they're a really tough schedule. Dallas, coupled with New Orleans, Minnesota, Golden State, Clippers, Nuggets, all in a row. So really tough schedule. We'll see how careful they are with his injuries when they bring him back. Next matchup here, really like this game tonight, Celtics at Minnesota. You have the Celtics team. They get 76ers next. They're coming off a good win here against Brooklyn. Pull it out without De'Aaron White. Only undefeated team left right now, leading the league in scoring. And T-Wolves crushed the Jazz. They are killing teams at home right now. They're 3-0 straight up against the spread at home, winning by 20+, allowing just 91 points per game. And weird matchup history on this one. Celtics own it. They've won 12 of the last 13 meetings, 11-2 against the spread. But when you look a little bit closer, Wolves 1-1 straight up, 2-0 against the spread the last 2 meetings in Minnesota. Now it's going to be a little bit of an interesting matchup. I like the Wolves in this spot tonight. I'd like to think that this is a much different Timberwolves team than when this Celtics ownership started, when this trend became so prevalent. So we'll see how it goes. Lean to the Timberwolves in this game tonight. Celtics maybe in a little bit of a look ahead. And hey, what they're doing at home right now is good as anybody at home in the NBA. So with that, we'll give me the T-Wolves plus the 4.5.
It's just tough to buck that trend.
Yep.
That's a huge trend that they've won. But yeah, Minnesota has looked phenomenal at home. They've actually looked really good today. They lost 2 bad games they played. Opening night, they went to Toronto. Well, they've won one of their last 18 or 19 trips, I believe, to Toronto. So it's a place that they never win at. And then they lose the game at Atlanta, who Atlanta just started to play well at that time. And that was the day before they were going back home for the playoff revenge against Denver. So 2 tough spots for them. Outside of that, Minnesota looking real good. The number is too high, no question. It's just a matter, do you want to back the trend? Celtics, again, will they get it for the T-Wolves or Philly tomorrow? They're going to get up and probably more for Philly tomorrow. Remember what we've been saying since the beginning of the year, before the year started. This is a thin team. Just don't have a bench. Are you inclined to rest some guys here in spots, knowing that you got, and I don't mean to sit them tonight. I mean, give them just a little extra time on the bench so you have them sharp for that game against Philly tomorrow. Minnesota or nobody, do you want to buck the trend? I haven't yet.
Then we have Hawks at OKC. Atlanta turning a lead
Before
right
you
now.
get started on this one, Ben, they just upgraded Shy to questionable.
Okay. And I was actually going to make a point about that on this game. You have, I think, this Shy injury, and they should drag it out a little bit longer. I think it's beneficial to OKC this early in the season. Let Chet Holmgren get some games where he can be the number 1 option. And, they've been competitive with it. Scored, what was it, 24, 8-5 the other night there against Golden State. Just getting those games early on where he doesn't have to be the number 2 to Shai, and he can kind of be a bit more aggressive. I think that's beneficial for them early on. We'll see, though, if Shai ends up playing. Obviously, that's good for the number and good for the bet. I'm just talking long-term for OKC purposes this year. Atlanta looking good right now. 4 straight, 3-1 against the spread, getting a nice win at New Orleans the other night. They're scoring, second in scoring right now, and that's where I'm looking at this one as well. It's over matchup history here. 3 of the last 4 meetings went over 243 points per game. OKC starting to be a bit more overtrending again. They were overtrending last year. 2 of their last 3 went over. 2 of Hawks' last 3 went over, and all pretty high scoring, all in that 240 range. Looking at the over in this matchup tonight. And even without Shai, obviously, I'll just like the lower number with Shai out. But, hey, if he's in, all the more power to the over.
Yeah, as far as the line, you got to know if Shai's in or he's out. Now, they initially had him out, and they brought Atlanta as a 3-point favorite, which I thought was maybe just a tin shy. But Atlanta's playing real good basketball.
Oh, yeah.
The 4 straight wins, as Ben mentioned, 3-1 against the spread. The only game that they didn't cover was the Wizard backdoor. They were blowing the Wizards out in that game. So they've really picked it up, and they've really picked it up with Trey really not shooting the ball well. A little better in his last game. He gets on par. They'll be a dangerous team. This is another addition by subtraction. They moved Collins. Everybody gets better. DeJounte Murray getting more shots. He's looked phenomenal. The backcourt of Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, love the way they look. Would be a nice battle with Shai if he's in there. But got to know the injuries, guys. That's how important it is. It's why, we shoot this podcast at 11 o'clock. This Shai info is probably going to go right up till just before game time. You've got to know if he's in, and that's the strength of being a How to Beat the Bookie member. We get that info out to you as soon as possible. Line right now, we're looking at Hawks 1.5. With Shai, there's no way that the Hawks are as good as they're playing, and they've had success in this series, but they can't be the favorite at OKC with the Thunder in this spot. As far as the total, Shai gives you 30 a game. If you are going over, and it's an overlook with these two teams, would want to have Shai in the lineup for that one.
Then last game on the card, maybe the best one tonight, Pelicans at Denver. This Pelicans team coming off that loss to Atlanta. Ingram finally came back, though, was efficient in 31 minutes. Then you have no McCollum, no Murray tonight. This Denver team just crushed the Bulls on Saturday. Obviously, this Pelicans team a bit Nuggets are the deeper team here, so the injury hurts, I think, Pelicans a little bit more. But as far as this specific matchup, I mean, Denver, obviously, the size between Porter, Gordon, and Jokic, a lot of size. But, hey, Ingram, Zion, and Valanciunas go toe-to-toe with that 3 right there down low. So taking out the guards in here, yes, it's problematic. I think the size in this one is what's I think Pelicans are one of the teams that match up as good with Denver as anyone in the NBA if you're going to try to argue the matchups-wise. Denver, man, playing really good basketball right now. The only thing is they get Golden State next. That's the team who knocked them out of the playoffs the year prior to winning the championship, the team that won the championship the year prior. So obviously these are your 2 reigning champs in the NBA. Got to be a little bit of a circle spot on the schedule. Maybe even why they're playing this a little bit more delicately with Murray. We'll see if he's even back for that Golden State game, but could be one of those instances as well. And I think Nuggets, good team. You take out a piece like Murray. Nuggets have the best chemistry in the NBA. I think they'll be okay without him. Give me the Pelicans and the under in this matchup. They covered 3 or 4 meetings last year. All 3 they covered. Those games went under. I think we see something similar tonight.
So this is you can get 2 sharp guys, and Ben is a very sharp guy. You get 2 sharp guys just looking at something a little different. So Ben's got to lean to the Pelicans. My lean is to Denver. I know they've got Golden State next. I just don't know that Denver's worried about Golden State or it's a look-ahead game of Golden State. Well, they've got a Pelican team that not only split with them on their home court last year, but split with them on their home court the year before. So the last 4 meetings in Denver, Pelicans have taken 2. Think they'll be ready for that. Don't think won't be ready without Murray. Murray's going to be out, as Ben said. Another reason for that team to pick it up, and that gives some guys off the bench time that they've got to get in there and play. So being Denver's the much deeper team. Look, Pelicans right now, this year it's Ingram's already had his injury. Now it's McCollum's turn. When is Zion going down? A matter of time. They're already so shorthanded. Alvarado, Marshall, who's the other guy? The other
Murphy.
3 of their rotation guys, key reserves, not playing. They're already on the IR. Now you take McCollum out. Big problems up in Denver tonight. My lean is to Denver in this one. Denver or nobody.
We'll see what ends up happening there. As John and I clash on that one. No bet on it, but just different leans on the game. We'll see what goes on in that late night game in the NBA. Only one bet out so far today, but a big card. And obviously Monday Night Football, always the chance of halftime bets. So if you guys want any other breaking information as injuries come out, lines move, any other bets, make sure you guys check out howtobeatthebookie.com or download the How to Beat the Bookie app. Sign up there to get that information. And as you've been saying, John, by the dip, MLB first month was minus 12 units. From that point forward, up over 40 units. And it's going to be the same thing here in the NBA. Rough little week and a half to start the season. Crushing the numbers, though, that's all we care about is getting on the right side at the right price. It'll pay out at the end of the year, John.
And I'm not talking down to anybody. But if you're a square, that's all you're worried about is winning or losing. If you're sharp, you know that as long as you're beating the number and it continues that way, you're going to get the money. Having something on the game. If you're not beating the number, you're just throwing darts at a game, then you're going to go 50-50. You're going to get juiced out, 50-50 at best. Most guys can't even do that. But when you're constantly crushing the number every day, and I guess I don't mean beating the number by a half a point. There's some games where we only beat it by a half a point or it doesn't move at all. But more times than not, when we have a bigger bet, and again, today would have been a 5-unit bet, there's a 4-point beat on the number. Swing it 2-2, 2 dogs or 2 favorite. You're not gonna lose those games more than 40% of the time. Still gonna lose them, but you're not gonna lose them more than 40% of the time. By the dip, we're like fucking AT&T. We're gonna pay big dividends.
Yeah, pay big dividends. Make sure you guys go check that out on the app or the website. Winning Sunday. Hopefully that broke off some of the ice that we had on us last week, and we can carry that into a winner tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe below. Let's make some money, John.
Let's make some money.